As soon as Josh is in Zoom, we'll be ready to go. So let me know.
Yep. We're circling the tower a couple times.
Okay.
So air traffic control on my end has not prompted me that we are going to move any steps forward until air traffic control prompts me. We're in standby. Ghost Rider, the pattern is unknown.
All right, we're at 7:01.
Am I muted?
Is
Y'all hear
Josh
me?
back? Is Josh back? Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Josh?
you're good.
Are we good to start?
I will. Yeah. Are we good, guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
we're
am.
good.
All right, give me 1 second, and then
I'm waiting on.
you'll hear my count.
Let's try to wait on Josh. Make sure.
I'm unmuting in Zoom. Be ready to unmute Kevin. In 5.
Well, he
4,
said he's still waiting
on.
on Josh.
Hold on.
I'm
He's still
so
waiting on
confused,
Josh.
y'all.
He's not here.
He just left.
Zoom's crashing.
Oh, lovely.
I mean, he
So,
can always get on Clubhouse.
I mean, yeah.
Now, plan. Well, we can get him on
Well,
Clubhouse
either that or he can dial in. That's the other option.
Yeah.
or dial in. Yeah.
His audio on Clubhouse is good, so if he just wants to do it through Clubhouse, that's fine.
Yeah. The only thing that sucks balls about that is now I lose the ability to have his separate voice, but that's okay. I mean, I'll make
yeah.
do. I'll make do, but
Yeah, I don't know where he is.
All right. So how long are we giving him? That's the $1 million question.
Have to do something here.
Like another minute.
Does somebody want to call him?
Yeah.
Just send it in.
Call him real quick because my phone's it's in the other room, so I wouldn't hear a Clubhouse.
Okay,
Oh.
he's back.
Oh, there he
There
is,
he
ready
is.
to be admitted.
Got him.
There he is.
All right.
Hey, Josh, can you hear us?
The back channel, and then I'm staying muted. So, and 5, 4, 3, 2. Go ahead and unmute, Kev.
He's not ready. We're not hearing him yet.
Okay.
See, that's
No audio, Josh. Sure
Josh.
he knows that.
Okay.
Yeah, he's gone again.
All right, can you hear me?
All right.
Oh, wait.
Oh, there we
Yes.
got him.
Yes.
There we go.
How's that audio? Do you need me to change anything?
Can you come up?
No, it's
Just a touch.
just,
Let me
just
go
a
into
smidge.
system. Yeah, I
Just-
got some preferences up.
Goose it.
Just we make sure
Actually,
that it's.
no.
Hold on
Actually,
a
don't
second.
worry.
Hold on a second. Is it that one?
No.
So it's not this microphone I'm tapping right now.
It is that microphone. Yes.
Okay.
Bring that up.
Okay. Good. Okay. Just making sure.
Just goose the gain, yo. Just a tiny bit, not much. I'm just trying to bring you up to where Will and Sean and Victor are.
Testing.
How's that? Is
Talk.
that better?
Yeah,
Check,
that
check.
should. Yeah, you guys hear him good?
I can. Let me see
I
if I
can
can
hear him.
scoot up a little bit too.
That would
I
actually
can
help.
scoot
too.
up. Yeah. Well, and are we worrying about? Are we just doing audio tonight?
Just audio
Doing audio.
mainly.
Okay. No, because if that's
Why,
the case,
you
then I can.
naked?
No, I'm not naked. It's that way I can get closer to my video. That's why I can. Or if we're not, then I can get closer.
Oh, well,
and you can have better
Oh,
audio.
it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
If I
Go
had
with that.
anything to do with it, we never would be. I don't want to be on camera.
Yeah.
So,
I don't
All
either.
right, but if
anyway,
but
all
if
right.
this works, this works.
all right, here we go. I'm
That's
gonna unmute
good.
Clubhouse.
All right.
5, 4,
All right.
3, 2.
We're live.
Okay, here we go.
Last time I checked.
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Hey, y'all. How's it going? Glad everybody could join us tonight. This is the WeSpeak podcast live recording session. I tell you what, man. Every time I get on here, like right before I'm about to talk, there's about 30 seconds of extreme anxiety. So, yeah, this isn't easy. At least not for me. But yeah, glad to be here tonight. And we do have an official name now. It's WeSpeak, and
Woohoo!
that was given to us by an anonymous person. They didn't want to be called out. They didn't want to be unmasked. So we'll leave it that way. And I'll tell you, this name really brought on a lot of craziness, a lot of interesting new ideas. So let me kind of walk through this a little bit, and then we'll get on to the rest of our show. We got Joshua Loya. I call him the Adventure Mind dude. How you like that? Um, so yeah, let me walk through the whole WeSpeak thing here. Um, got this about 2 weeks ago, and I don't know, just some reason it just really was easy to develop into all different avenues, and that or everybody thinks I'm crazy, which is possible. Um, so the idea behind WeSpeak, keeping this podcast, is basically we're going to continue to do shows like this where we have guests on, we interview, and it's just really, I mean, you want to know what the plan is? There's no plan. There's no
Yeah.
schedule. There's no planning in this at all. Like we just schedule it. We get on here and BS for a couple hours, and then Kevin puts his creative spin on it. And we release it as a podcast. So that's all there is to it.
That's all she
And
wrote.
we're going to go ahead.
I said that's all she wrote.
Yeah. So we're going to continue to do these little interviews and fun things and talk a little bit just what's going on and some of the cool new AI tools that I'm using. And I mean, really just whatever comes up goes. So that is the initial WeSpeak podcast. And we'll do this live once a month on the second or the first Wednesday of the month at 6. That'll always be. The show will always be on there at that time. We'll add other shows. There will be other podcasts that get released. And that's a whole other story there. So, Mindy and I were talking about some ideas, and one of them was to add a We Speak After Dark show. No, it's not a porno. um, this is a pretty intense. We'll call it. Okay, here's the best way to describe this. Imagine taking a Facebook group on a specific topic and making that a live show for one night. So where you take one topic, you really dissect it, you really explain both sides of it, and then you just invite people to come up and give their opinions on it and share. And we'll do that for a couple hours, say on a Friday night. And it'll be a lot of fun. Um, and these are a lot of topics that just don't get discussed a lot. So one such might be blind people getting concealed carry licenses. Yes, that is a real thing. Yes, that does happen. It really does. Good idea, bad idea? Yeah, I don't know. Rideshare and Ubers and stuff like that. The rideshare denials of people with service animals. I mean, we could go on for days on something like that. So, We Speak After Hours is just another derivative of this podcast, adding a little bit more spice to it.
Uncensored.
And non-censored, yeah. And that's not totally true. I mean, we got to have some
Wait a
rules. We
second,
got to have
we're
some
censored?
guidelines. We got to have some things. We got to have some control. Otherwise, it's going to be complete chaos, and we can't have that. So there is a method behind all of this.
But
And
I thought it was interesting, Sean, because you have this show idea called After Dark, and I had a podcast episode idea called After Chatter, which is any off-topic stuff that's brilliantly kind of discussed on these shows that they're necessary to be. People need to hear what was said, but it's not inside the context. Like Jeff Bazer and Beat Baseball Guy talking about blind darts. That needs to be somewhere, and it will be in one of these After Chatter episodes. So we have After Dark, After Chatter. I'm kind of digging on all of this.
yeah, and it's after hours, but you're close. After dark.
You said After Dark at first. You said After Dark at first. Yeah, that's what I thought. But After Hours, it's all good.
Okay.
Sorry to butt in here, but I was just curious, isn't every hour After Hours?
Right.
I mean, how far back you go?
Or isn't everything after dark for us?
Right.
I mean, it's always in the
Um,
dark. It's not really
And we've all,
after dark.
unless
dark.
it's the first time we're speaking, everything's also after
But
chatter.
it's also the morning after dark. Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. Can you
so
get that
deep.
in pill form? Can you get that in pill form, Kevin?
The
Yeah.
morning after
please.
dark.
I need me some of those
The
right
morning
now.
after dark pill.
Oh, shades of Stephen King here, man. What the hell?
Yep.
Totally.
This is
Okay.
this is what Sean asked for. This he wanted me on the show.
I did.
Okay,
I
but
did.
here's
I
the
did. So
thing.
He
let's
wanted you on this show?
take a
Apparently.
break. Let's take a quick chance here and just let everybody go around and introduce themselves because we got some new voices out there. Go.
Who wants to go first?
You, because you're the new guy.
My name is Victor Gouveia. I live all the way up here in the Great White North of Canada, in Toronto, and I have a YouTube channel called Whose Blind Life Is It Anyway? So if you want to look it up, go ahead.
That's a great question.
And I'm here to figure out what the hell I'm here for. So there you go.
So
That's a great name for a YouTube
what-
channel, by the way.
Yeah.
yeah, was that a takeoff on Sam's YouTube?
No,
On yeah.
no, I actually didn't know Sam's YouTube existed.
The Blind Life LLC.
Yeah.
I never knew it existed.
I'm really sad that I did not get to say hi to him yesterday at ACB. I was trying to get over there to booth 30, but it didn't happen. I'm sorry about that.
Ah, that sucks.
Yeah, I've talked to him before. He's
All
pretty
right.
cool.
So, what order are we doing this thing? Are we just doing this popcorn style as it is?
Popcorn. Yeah, we'll talk about more popcorn here in a minute. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, my name's Joshua Loya. I think that's my last name. Last time I checked. Some people call me the Jedi. I didn't give myself that nickname, but I am also amongst those who can read in the dark. But in addition to that, I am I'm blind. I'm not going to pussyfoot around it. See that? You can say that. I am a stand-up comedian, martial artist, surfer guy, and general adventurer and pot stirrer. But happy to be here.
Pot smoker?
Pot smoker as well, in fact. Pot
Yeah.
eater and drinker as well.
Anybody got a blunt?
No.
I will be, we'll I have a dugout, and we will be filling the dugout with something.
Ah, there you go. Anyway, what's going on, guys? I am Will Walsh. I am an AT specialist here in the Houston area for my local lighthouse on the day job side of things. And my free time, I'm doing stuff for Total Tech Solutions. I'm hanging out with the girlfriend. I'm a big music lover. Some people may or may not have known me as DJ Willie the Kid in my college days when I was doing frat parties, sorority events, and clubs, bars, weddings, that sort of stuff. It's how I paid my bills through college. So that was fun. And yeah, I'm just more or less kind of a co-commentator-esque personality, kind of along for the ride, and happy to be here.
I'm Kevin Reeves. I'm kind of the weirdo spiritual creative guy with the button pushing skills to make sure that all of these things kind of go between the different platforms, and we'll be adding more, and we'll be cranking up the quality of this as we go. And you know, I'm another kind of co-host-ish along for the ride, and participating in the conversation where necessary or maybe unnecessarily. Who knows? I mean, that might be a matter of opinion that they'll have to do on an after dark. Is anything that comes out of Kevin Reeves's mouth necessary or unnecessary? Discuss.
We'll have a button. We'll have a buzzer that we push.
Yeah. You're right. And we're going to rig it up to like this 10-pound ball that's hanging above my ceiling. So if there's too many unnecessaries, it falls
Why
down.
is it a ball, Kevin?
Yeah.
What?
Why is it
Why
a
is it a
ball?
ball?
Well, what else is it going to be?
It could be an anvil.
Well, that too, but I don't know. Just somebody rigs up a bowling ball to the top of a pulley, and then too many unnecessaries come down, and it just and there we go. Anyway, glad to be here and looking forward to this, and yeah.
So
Think
let me
that
get
leaves
back
you.
real quick to let me get back to the WeSpeak thing real quick here. I'll share my last little teaser on this, and this is the real crazy part. If you think like getting people to openly debate and discuss things on here is crazy, um, what if you turn this into a live show and you could sell it to I don't know, nonprofits, really anybody. This is not blindness specific. I mean, but what if you could sell a show idea like this and do it as a fundraiser for some convention somewhere? Be a lot of fun, be a lot of craziness.
Yeah, because
Uh,
you could have all the people up on stage, and it's like the whole thing's being done live, and then people can we could have somebody with a mic that walks around, and it's like a rain stick.
Roving reporter.
The
thing,
roving
right?
reporter with the talkie stick. You know how
wireless
some
mics.
tribes.
I mean,
Yeah,
wireless mics is all you need. Like 4 or 5
No,
extra
for
mics.
audience
Oh
participation,
my
I think is what he's
fucking
talking
god!
about.
You guys are talking Jerry Springer.
no,
Pretty
because
much.
we want to be kinder, gentler than that.
Yeah,
No, we
although
don't.
I wouldn't mind.
I do.
I wouldn't mind
No.
being a country singer like Mr.
Jerry Springer. He did release a country record. He did
Yeah.
release a country
Yeah.
record. This is not fake news.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's accurate. He was also the mayor of Youngstown, not too far
did
from a
know
place
that.
where I lived once.
I didn't even know this shit.
I knew the thing about the mayor, so that's pretty cool.
But yeah, if you have a
Um,
roving report, and I was thinking though, just as I know I'm like the one guy that's showing up for the first time as a guest, so to speak, but I think it'd be great if Kevin did a cover of "Let's Get Social" at the close of every live show.
What the hell is Let's Get Social?
Oh, I thought you've heard that. Let's get social.
Nope.
Okay, never mind.
I have-
We'll enter in a clip later, maybe or not, or you
I
can.
have
Well, it
absolutely
probably-
not heard of that.
It's all
Are
right.
you playing some bands, Josh?
Back in the day, yeah, I played in a band called Arimathea. I've played in some other bands too, but Arimathea is the only thing where people can look up.
Do
what
you
I've
have a
done.
standout track that you would like us to play at the end of this? Because we will.
If you want it nice and heavy, I really like Sirens. Sirens is
you
on
got
the
it.
heavier end.
All right,
So-
we're gonna cue that up for later.
That'd be a great ending. I mean, that's what we gotta do is find a song, like maybe the same song, a different song each time, just to
Yeah.
end this with.
Yep.
What did you play in the band, Josh?
I played bass.
Ah,
Yeah.
rad.
So
Like
I've
it.
been working on my vocals more now, but that's we'll see what's up. Mr. Reeves has been kind enough to nudge me in the right direction with Reaper, and that's been a fun little journey. So I can start putting more of my stuff out, including the podcast that's been on hiatus for
Yeah.
what, 2 years?
Where is your
Still
sidekick? I thought your
still
sidekick was
available.
going to be here tonight too, Josh. Was Justin going to be here tonight?
He was I
No,
think
not
he's
tonight.
showing
Well,
up
Not
next
tonight.
month.
Okay. Next
Yeah,
month.
originally,
future time.
originally he was.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was.
Okay.
Although I always
Yeah.
wanted to have him on mic. So like there's a couple of small gems, but he really was like a silent engineer producer type. He was absolutely fantastic to work with though. If anybody's to know who we're talking about, Justin
He is,
Romack.
yeah, Justin Romack.
He's
Yeah.
a solid dude.
He is.
Justin
he is. He's-
Romack is probably, he absolutely sets the bar for every other blind person in the community, and everybody should aspire to be just as versed and just as talented as he is, because he is one of
And
a kind.
understanding of scattered creative types. Right?
Yes.
Like when we were trying to put together our branding for the podcast and stuff, and he's been helping me put together my personal site right now. Like I'm kind of an all over the place kind of guy. I'm very much in the moment. And he was really good at giving me a grid to follow so that we actually got some stuff done. So that takes an extra level of talent as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does, because I mean I've had the same thing with him. I'll send him all these ideas and he's like, slow down, slow down. He's like, or I'll send him I'll write something and send it to him and he's like, shorten that. Nobody's gonna read all that. I'm like, I mean that's what I like, is he knows how this stuff works.
Yeah. And then if you want not that he needs her help in terms of all the stuff that he can do as far as the website construction and the audio, but his wife Angela is a really solid graphic designer. They do some work. She's helping out with the some of the visual themes on my
Very
site.
good.
Yeah, no, so really cool to see how the two of them work together when they do collaborate.
I
I
make
haven't-
another little announcement here, because I forgot to earlier at the beginning. All of these shows are sponsored by Numa Solutions,
Every single
And,
one of them.
every single one of them. And next month we're gonna have the man himself, Mr. Calvo,
Woo!
on to talk with us. And I'm probably gonna talk to y'all about doing some other show in August because we got Dean Blasey wants to come on.
A
That'll be
legend.
fun.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I know a couple people I'd like to pair him with.
Yeah.
You know, I
Such
thought
as?
about that. I was like,
I want him and Alan Holst to kind of co-chair that.
There you go.
Yeah, that would
Now
be
you're
a
talking,
fun
buddy.
show. Some fireworks.
maybe I should.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Is there a backstory there?
They work they work together. They're doing some things, and I think it would be it'd be great. It'd be magic to watch them.
Yeah, and not fireworks is in like a horrible train
No.
wreck. Fireworks
No.
is in like excitement.
Yeah, like magnetic synergy of ideas and brilliant minds. Two of them.
So it would be a bad idea to ask him about the time he was saying like he only went to the NFB convention because the ACB was trash.
Well,
No,
I mean,
he,
if
Well,
he
feels
said
like,
something along.
Well,
That
he said
was
it.
back in the
now,
90s.
now people are
That
going
was
to
back
ask
in the
about it when
90s.
he's on here. You know, you just opened up that jar there. I see
Well,
what you did.
now the question is, do we leave that in? That's the question.
Well,
I've
they're
never
hearing
been-
it live
Yeah,
right now.
I know.
I think it'd be pretty
I
cool to
know.
leave it in, actually.
I think I gave Eric Damry a heart attack once.
How'd you do that?
I might or might not have while covering CSUN for Mike Calva's former company, pretended to whack my friend over the head with a Focus 40.
Oh my God. Oh
I
my
didn't-
God.
no,
Hilarious.
I wasn't
That's-
going to hit him. Like, I was very careful with that. I just reared it back and like really put my acting chops in, but I did not swing a braille display. I'm not
Josh,
stupid.
you know that's not a good representation of Freedom Scientific, okay?
My God. What
Well,
the
I didn't
hell?
work for Freedom Scientific.
You know, that's not a good representation, and you about gave me a heart attack, okay? I don't have many years left.
You know, honestly, though, to Eric Damry's credit, from what I understand, he really actually, at least relevant to Jaws, he learned how to use it non-visually. So like, as much
Yeah,
as
he is
like I
good.
was messing with him that day, like
He was a great guy.
no, he honestly is what. Look, I understand he's an executive. It's easy to have a lot of hate and stuff just cause, but like, he tried to be an effective ally for blind people, and I think, you know, like, shit talking or not, he was all right.
Yeah.
It's funny you bring him up because I used to go to dinner with him and my friend Bobby Lakey quite a bit when
Yeah.
Bobby was working with Vespero at Freedom Scientific. And there was a rumor going around that Eric Damry basically didn't have any monitors, that he used JAWS for everything.
Yeah, he
Dang.
really
And I was
was
like, is
able
that
to do
true?
it without. Yeah,
I asked him, is that true? And he's like, that's a bald-faced lie. I got 2 monitors on my desk.
Debunked.
Yep.
Man, I was actually kind of low-key hoping it was the inverse, but oh well.
there's some controversy. If anybody has evidence to the contrary, you know, let's send Sean Keen some hate mail, right?
Right. Yeah, because you'll probably saw what I was talking about doing the comments.
So I was like, every time I hear Eric's voice now, I think like he's gonna say a comment and then be like, and you will find that on side 1, tone 3. You know,
Dude,
Find
the
that
first
on
time-
site.
remember those days?
Oh my
Yes.
God.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
I ever?
So I was
NLS
like,
players.
I'm in a different space, and I was thinking about the first time I met Scott Brick and how I couldn't pay attention to anything he said for the first 25 minutes because I made the mistake. I knew I was going to meet him, and I made the mistake of listening to a book he narrated the previous night. And I was, oh wait, I'm supposed to respond. Okay, never
I've done
mind.
that.
Yeah. I've done that too. I actually
heard
got
that
Jaws. I got
heard
Jaws
that episode with Scott Brick. That was good.
That was
really
a
good, man.
great episode. Damn it!
He was
It was.
such a genuine
I'll have
dude.
to check it out.
Such a genuine.
Yeah, he
dude.
was.
And he was like going into tears at times when he was talking to you
Yeah.
about stuff. I mean, he was genuinely interested in what you were talking about.
He's a
And-
busy guy. Like, he's a very busy guy, but he is, if you can catch him, right? Like, if you can engage, he is present with you during the entire time.
Yeah.
So he's hard to pick down, but when you get him, he's right there with you. And I think that's a really beautiful thing.
And it's cool when you have people like that because you don't expect that from people like that. You expect them to be, stuck up or stuck into himself. And the fact that he'll take the time to engage with you and just like it's all about you. And another person that's really good at that who was on last month was Jeff Bazer. He is
He was
like
phenomenal.
you can
I
talk
love
to
that guy.
Jeff one on you yeah, you can talk to him one on one and he'll make you feel like you're the most important person in the room. And he's just
Yeah.
really good at that.
And he's so proper about it too. He's just like, I don't know, his like whole aura is just like so professional yet so down to earth at the same time. It's great. Like perfect balance. I loved it.
I'm sorry, we Canadians don't know this guy. Who is he?
So
Jeff
Jeff,
Bazer is
You use
is
you use his product.
yeah, he
We
uses
do?
Jaws, don't you? You use
Yeah.
Jaws? Okay.
Yeah.
So Jeff is the head of Central U.S. sales for Vespero, Freedom Scientific, all that.
So whenever he flaps his jaws, it's about Jaws, or there are some variant thereof. So he's like the
it's
front face
about
of it.
Jaws.
You know,
Yep.
he's a front facing guy, and he was great. He was so great, and he had such helpful things to say about adjusting sound and all the different things that you guys were talking about. So
Yeah, that was a really good one. So Josh, tell us more about
Yeah.
the band stuff.
Yeah, I mean the band stuff has been a minute, right? So Arimathea was started out as a band called Tried by Fire. It was sort of like this was in 2006. This was when like 3 Days Grace was current, kind of thing. And so we had a little bit of that sort of like San Diego, SoCal, like POD vibe. Our first singer kind of rapped a little bit, and then we morphed, and pulled a little bit from that Rise Against, Deftones vibe. I mentioned POD. One of their uncles was our manager for a wee little while. But it was a fun time. It was me on bass, Jason Skiles on guitar, for most of it, Nathan Adams on drums, and then Brian Christensen on drums, and Jordan Gandera was vocals. But it was a really fun time. It was when I was much more Christian in my orientation. I think we were pretty genuine about that aspect of things. That side of my life is a little bit different. We can tap into that maybe. But one of the highlights for me with that band, amongst getting to hear Adam Curry play our song and say that was some angry shit right there, was also one of my favorite authors and all around really, really cool guy. And happy to call him a friend, Scott Sigler, who's a fantastic science fiction author. He used our song Sirens at the couple of his books in the Galactic Football League series, and that tickled me to no end. And I've since played music of my own. I mean, I've played music when I was much younger. My dad was in bands and stuff, and I put a lot of that on hold to dig a little bit deeper on the martial arts side of things professionally. Did a little bit more access tech work and different things, and now most of my creative efforts has been comedy, but we're moving back into this music space. I play a little bit every day, keeps my mind a little bit more sane,
Yeah, because I bought a drum set like a year ago, 2 years ago, I guess, when we moved in here. And I used to play drum. I was in jazz band and stuff in high school, and I went like 20 some odd years. And I'm not going to be playing with anybody anytime soon. But it is fun. It's good for. I like to say it's good for blood pressure.
Most definitely.
Mm.
That's the thing I love about playing bass, is that, especially the way I like to play, is I get to beat up my bass string. Like I like to hit it with my knuckles and thump it with my my thumbs and use my fingers.
Oh wow.
I use my whole fist and I make that thing sing like a
That
ram. All right,
that's what she
Yeah.
said, and that
would you
sounded
make
so
Davey
wrong.
504 proud?
In my prime, he wouldn't say that I suck.
I do not think that Joshua sucks. Slap like if you agree.
I love that dude.
Yeah. I was a music nut all through all through school. I played percussion up through high school, started in 6th grade, and actually I dropped out my senior year so I could focus on DJing full time, turntablism specifically. So the art of mixing, scratching.
You ever do any like trip hop kind of stuff, or you like where you work with some
Not really.
collaborations? because I
Not
really
really.
dig, like, you check out like Massive Attack, some of the it's the only band I can think of right now, but I like that sort of like lo-fi hip hop kind of like underground
Like
sound.
chill hop.
But then like you got that cool, like almost Billie Holiday kind of vocals
Portishead,
going.
Tricky.
Yeah, Portishead is the
Yeah,
other band.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
of. Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always
And I
been
would just
more
like
of
to I would just like
I've
to say
always-
that he said the word turntablism, and I've been made fun of before for using that term.
No, it's a real term.
No, Christina
It is?
Christina joked me for it. There's no such thing as Yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
It is. She didn't think it
Yes,
was like
there
she
is.
thought because I make up words all the time like wobby knobby and uppy downy and turntablism. She thinks I would just make that up. You're making
Yeah,
that
Well,
up.
Like
and
word
without
salad.
outing her, I'm not going to out her unless she wants to speak to it to herself. But she and I disagree on a couple of key things about certain bands or artists. I'm not going to invite the hate for her.
So I'm sorry, I stomped all over you. You were saying something, Will, and I stomped. I apologize. Keep
I
going.
1000%
Yeah.
forgot. So
Yeah. You were talking about how you do turntablism, and you dropped out to do
yeah,
DJ
I was,
stuff
and then I
professionally.
completely lost my train of thought as soon as Kevin got on his tangent. So
Sorry about that.
No,
That was my fault.
I started
No, it's all
It
good.
happens. It happens
I
all
started
the
that
time.
stuff.
Oh shit.
There used to be a really cool website, turntablism101.com, and they showed
Yeah.
like how to do all the different orbit, flare, crab scratching. I mean, every little thing you wanted to know about
Heck yeah.
turntablism.
I was never a scratch kind of guy. I could listen to continuous scratching for like 10 minutes. I would get super bored. So I primarily focused on the blending, and then in terms of scratches, I would just do I just did chirps. That's all I do is chirps.
Yeah.
I could care less about the crabs, the flares, the transforms. All of that to me is like just
This just
much.
in, our other guest has arrived. Look at this.
Yep.
Oh,
Welcome.
Hey,
Hello.
all right.
Mr. Lubinar.
Hey, Daniel. Glad you could make it.
We'll give him
Yeah.
a second to get his audio in order, and then we'll.
By the way,
Yeah,
Cam,
Will.
Anyway.
you
Rachel
take
says it was a
this,
pleasure
Will.
to meet you.
Oh, it was, yeah. I loved.
Hi, it's
Well,
Dan.
Daniel. Hi, Daniel. It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
We were wondering where you were, but glad you showed up. So tell us a little bit about, and I know this is kind of you just got it in here. First of all, welcome again.
Thank you.
First of all, tell us a little bit about you. We're obviously here. We're here to talk about the Braille Doodle because that's the highlight. That's your flagship product here at Touchpad Pro Foundation. But give us a little bit of a backstory on you. Where did you stumble on the whole idea of teaching blind and low vision students, and kind of how did that transform into Braille Doodle?
Sure. So I turned on my video so those with some vision could follow along. I've been anyway. I've been a teacher for like 25 years, so I always loved the arts and everything, but I went into teaching special education. So I was teaching reading, taught kids who all different types of kids, autism, learning disabilities, kids with Down syndrome. I was teaching
Wow.
a lot of reading, and I really loved that. Really loved like bringing kids from the first, not reading to doing the first words and everything. And then the last 6 years of my teaching, I was teaching. I got a job which I loved. Was teaching art to blind and low vision kids in the Bronx in New York. And it was so inspiring. I was a little nervous at first. I was like, what am I going to do? Like teach art to 100 blind students, kindergarten.
Yeah, I can
first
imagine.
grade. Yeah. And I've never worked with blind people before. And so but really quickly, they were just kids, you know. They just, you know, I just they they made me feel comfortable and made me understand that they're not blind kids. They're kids and teenagers and young adults who have personalities and are talents and wonderful differences, and just, you know, and the blindness is not what defines them. And I was just felt very inspired by that. And then the pandemic hit and everybody went home, and all the students didn't have anything to do art or to read or anything, so, or to learn Braille. And I was like, this sucks. And it was actually really upsetting to me. There was a little like depression there,
Yeah, I'm sure.
and I didn't, you know, I tried to like do songs and stuff like that with them, but it was frustrating because my kids are from the Bronx or from Brooklyn, Queens. They didn't have money to go on Amazon and just buy a bunch of stuff, you know. And so I was thinking, like, what can we do? Like, if we could create a product that, you know, kids could have at their houses, you know, that they could do art and they could learn Braille. And, you know, it just started hitting me like this Amazon product that, you know, so if you look at this, it looks a lot like this Amazon product that's out there. It's a tablet with hundreds and hundreds of holes on one side. And inside each hole is a little ball, tiny little BB. And when you drag a magnetic stylus, it brings up the balls up to the surface and they stay up. But with the Amazon tablet, when you touch it, you know, the balls kind of fall down. It's not really made for blind, low vision kids or people. So if we could find a way to keep those balls up there, you know, so you can feel them, then that would be great. You'd be able to teach some Braille and do some other thing. And, you know, so I started working on these ideas and started drawing things and thinking about things. And then it takes a lot of money. So it took a lot of
Yeah.
money and a lot of patience to try and make this from a piece of paper idea into something that was real, you know?
Yep.
I don't know. I've been talking for a half hour straight, so maybe, you know, you might be it.
Well, they
Yeah.
got to hear me mess around before you got here. This is Joshua talking, so you know,
Oh,
you're
okay.
a nice palate cleanser from my nonsense.
Okay.
Well, I want to say that I met you last year at MFB, and you showed me this thing, and I thought it was brilliant, and I've always been kind of thinking in my head, like, how would I use this? I don't know, would I really use this? It's brilliant, but would I really use it? And as I'm sitting here listening to you, I figured out exactly what I'm going to use it for. I'm going to use it when I go and teach with IC Music, and I have to teach people about waveforms on a screen. So now I can,
Ooh,
Oh, that's
so I can,
great.
when I
that's
can
clever.
I can draw an oscilloscope now, and I can talk about the physics. And I go, look, it's technical terms. The higher the squiggly, the louder the sound. The wider apart the squigglies are, the lower the note. And it's going to be easy to say, look at this. Here it is. I just made it for you, because I was going to do this with sticky wikis. I don't have to do that with sticky wikis anymore. So I really appreciate this, and we're just so glad to have you here.
I honestly, like, the one of the things that I was never particularly good at drawing when I could see, you know, only had the one eye or whatever, but I miss being able to get my ideas out in an abstract form. And I think that just kind of like mental mapping and just, even if it's just a shape to mean this and another shape to mean that, and here's how I divide them conceptually, being able to kind of give another space for my thoughts to be able to connect back with me, that isn't just audio or isn't just braille. Like it's sort of a this is more of an analog way to engage with my abstract thoughts, rather than being limited to what can be recorded or what can be written down with actual words and punctuation marks.
But you guys haven't talked about the best part about this thing is its price.
Yeah.
The price point
Yeah,
is amazing.
Good
what
point,
is the
sir.
what is
Yeah.
the price point, if you don't mind, for my ignorant
Well,
mind at this
no,
particular
not
juncture?
at all. Well, I was showing you the Braille Doodle Mini, but this is the Braille Doodle in total. So it has A through Z and some contractions and the indicator and 20 2 lines of 20, and then on this side you get a huge array, right, of pins. And I love what you guys were saying about like the curves and everything. Anyway, right now you could pre-order this for $90.
That's
So
not bad.
we are really trying to be disruptive, when it comes to pricing, because there's nothing on the market like this that's close to $90,
Not even remotely.
No.
Is there
and I think like we're pissing people off, and I like that.
Yeah.
good? I think it's
I
great.
agree. I am all
Yep.
about it, sir.
Yeah.
I-
Thousand
They're-
percent.
they're, like upsetting.
Absolutely.
Like, people don't want. I shouldn't mention names. Like I'm always like, well, these people are these people. Like, but there are people who will not speak to us about carrying our product. People, that could carry our product and really make use of it in lots of schools.
It's because you compete with their status quo.
Right. And
Right?
they don't
I
like
mean,
that.
I've seen it. You run into it in a lot of places in the blindness rehabilitation space,
Yeah.
where it's a little bit of, I don't know if Munchausen syndrome is the correct word, but essentially where they keep the blind and visually impaired community sick enough to need them, but
Or
not
dependent
not empowered enough, right, to actually create our own solutions. Just stress us out so much in terms of where our resources go just to survive, let alone innovate.
I would like
Right.
to point out that you did say visually compared at first, and it was a Freudian slip, and it makes absolute sense. So out of the overflow of the heart.
I'm glad that's what you heard.
No, I'm saying this because part of what they do visually compared people. Like you notice that it's like we compare. Are you going to go the trajectory that we're only programmed to have you go? So we're comparing you to all the other people.
Right.
Look, these people didn't have a problem going through this trajectory. Therefore, you should too. I always liked. There was somebody who said, they were talking about New York City one time, and I can't remember who this was, but it was in a music class, and we were talking about like music business in New York City and whatever. And there was somebody that wrote a long time ago that and it's a paraphrase and it's a horrible one at best, but this really illustrates the rehab space. New York City is a place where the builders are building a prison, but they themselves are actually the wardens of it. And they're like trapped in it. It was like some kind of weird, I don't know, it was an author that said this, and it was like, this thing about New York City where it's like people become, I don't know what it was. It wasn't even a negative thing. It was just kind of a philosophical statement. But if we look at rehab, it's like they will sit us down at suit and tie affairs, and they will pat themselves on the back that what they did is they gave us a Nerf hammer to nail in real nails.
Right.
And that's what they've done. And so it's like, it goes back to my concept of autonomy versus independence, which is my big deal. And it's like, we can tell people all day long, well, you can do everything you want in the world. But then if you don't set them up for success, they really can't. They can probably independently learn how to do something, but they're not autonomous. And so it's literally like we're partially building the prison in a sense with Nerf hammers. We have nothing to actually build our own level ups in a way.
I love
And
those
that's
things.
why it's great that we have an actual hammer for learning Braille instead of a Nerf
correct. Yes,
hammer.
this is the real tool with a real
Yeah.
handle.
Mhm.
So Daniel,
Tell me-
kind of give
tell-
us.
Go
I was
ahead.
just gonna. So give us
Mhm.
kind of a specific overview of how the product actually works. Like, how would you use this thing? Like, we get the concept of what it's used for and what it can be used for, but how would you actually
Right.
go about taking advantage of it?
Well, I started off by saying I was a reading. I taught reading a lot, right? And
Right.
and it was special education. So, like me, when I was in school, kids were slow learners, and
Right.
so you had to break things down. You had to make them, but it makes you a better teacher, to learn how these students are learning. And
Right.
a lot of these products, a lot of these people don't talk to the teachers. I mean, we're
Never.
and they don't talk to therapists like yourselves. They don't talk to, and of course they don't talk to end user. I mean, God forbid.
Why would you do that?
Why would you do
Yeah.
that? If you're making something for the blind to make their lives better, I'm going to make your life better. So why should I talk to you?
We'll just.
Just because they know how to do blind better than we do. Apparently,
Yes,
that's
I
really
know.
what
Yes.
the message is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
We'll just pimp the blind.
Right. So, that's one thing that this came from the heart, came from my students. And all along, I've been working alongside of people on the blind vision spectrum, and different types of blindness and different ages where they lost their vision. I think that's important too. But anyway, I'm digressing. Anyway, so you have these two large braille cells that are together in the upper left-hand corner.
Okay.
Right? And the two large braille cells are the letter and then the example. I mean, the example of the letter, and then you have to repeat it. So you get modeled what the space is. So only the number 1 comes up.
Okay.
That's it. The rest of the dots you could feel, but they don't work. Okay. So you can't make a mistake. It's only number 1. And then next to it, you repeat it. Next one's B. 1 and 2 work. 3 doesn't work, 4, and they don't work.
Oh.
Then you repeat it. Okay.
Yep.
So, and I did it wrong. So I'm gonna push these down, and they go right back down.
That's super cool. Actually,
you're
that's really cool.
You're pulling things up, and you push them right back down.
So is it like magnets?
Mistake. Yep. So it's one magnet on the stylus, right? Pretty powerful magnet, pulls up these little BBs, and they stay up just so. And it only took $60,000 in 18 months.
Only.
That's about six. That's about
Yes,
6
right.
braille displays.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, it was,
At minimal.
product development is so much more difficult than I figured it would be when I was like, this is a pretty cool idea. We could get this, and then, 6 months we'll have this on shelves. And then 2.5 years later, you're like, oh, well, kind of work out like I thought.
So the development process is a little bit longer than you expected.
Yeah. And to
Yeah.
get $60,000 doesn't grow on trees and
Right.
nobody,
Telling
you
me.
know, and investors, they normally don't want to touch you because the population is so small. And so I formed a nonprofit. So we are the Touchpad Pro Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit. I stopped teaching after that. Got so excited about this. I'm like, I'm going to do this. You know, we're going to make this happen. So I worked on this full time. You know, and like any entrepreneur, you know, that means like up to 2 a.m. and like I gotta do this, this, and this, and
Yeah.
you know,
That's
and
my life.
yeah, and I'll do, you know, we'll get this out there. We gotta get this out there. But you know, making a foundation, I started getting people interested, some donors, and I was able to get up there so I could pay for this, the engineering. And so we have it at a pretty good place where we want it. So as I was saying, you do the examples, but here's the important thing too, okay? Is a lot of products like give you a letter. Okay, here's
Right.
a letter, you know. Now, I don't know about any of you, but when I was like learning how to read, you had to move on past one letter, you know?
Right.
You had to go to letters and then words, you know? So you have to go from words to sentences. So you need to be able to do all that. So to do all that, you could learn C, A, T, K, at, cat, cat, FAT, fat, SAT, sat, cat, sat, fat, and you can start writing these words down here on 2 lines of 20 braille cells. Right
Oh,
here. And then you could write sentences. Okay, the fat cat sat on a mat.
right.
And there you go. Now you're learning to read and write, you know. You're not learning a couple letters, you know, you're actually learning how to read and write words and sentences.
I wish that there was a device like this to help me when I was learning Braille, because at the time I was learning, we're talking very early 2000s, and there wasn't anything remotely close to something like this. I mean, the best thing that I had were, you know, Braille blocks, maybe some cheat
Roblox.
sheets here or there, and just a lot of coaxing and prompting from TVIs. But shoot, that was really, you know, and of course the specialized books, which were made to teach you different letters and symbols and all that good kind of
Did you
stuff.
have the Pam and Tim books? They still have
Yes, I
those?
did. Yes, I
Does
did have
anybody know
them.
what?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. They had
Yep.
those in the 80s when I was learning. I guess
Yeah.
it might have been the 70s when I started Braille. Pam, Pam and Tim, all these
Yep.
silly little sentences.
Yep. That was the big. That was. I had a VI teacher in the kindergarten era, and she swore by all those books, and that was one of the first things that she had me read. And I think they incorporated contractions too, if I'm not mistaken, in those somewhere.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh, before we keep going here, I just want to reach out if anybody on Clubhouse has a question. Daniel, we got this little connection thing going here where we're
Oh,
linked
that's
to
so
other
cool.
platforms.
Mhm.
And so if anybody's on Clubhouse has a question, raise your hand and we'll bring you up on stage and wait till you're called on, please.
I
Anything,
have to
Kevin?
ask, do you have an engineering background?
I do not like, so engineering, business, and all this stuff, just, you know, just went along the way. And for engineering, you know, I had to, like I said, paid lots of money for these guys who are experts in the field. And
Sure.
they were able to figure out how to get this, you know, and follow my objectives, which was to make something that we could mass produce, do, you know, make 10,000 of them, not 100 of them, right? Or
Hmm.
tens of thousands of them, so we could sell them for an inexpensive price, you know,
Right.
just get them out there. So, no, I've been an artist, an actor. I even put on a sitcom one time. I tried to sell it, kind of silly, but
You mean like product placement?
what's that? No, at
No.
one point, in another life, I was a director, producer, actor type of thing, and I put on a sitcom called Stand Up Neurotica.
Well, those of us who do I do stand up and have for about, I don't know, 6 years, 7 years, something like that, and
Oh,
most of us who do stand up are a little bit on the neurotic side.
Yeah, and you don't sound funny at all, though.
Oh, well, yeah. I don't see the appeal myself, so you know.
Right.
The funny thing is that so I've been like this veteran performer for like 25 years as a musician.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that occurred during this tenure is that I discovered the wonders of dueling piano. When I discovered the wonders of dueling piano and I started learning the gig, I realized I had a knack for stand-up because I was doing like impressions of artists and I was cracking jokes. And people are like, dude, you've got to figure out how to put this into an actual comedy act where you go up, do an hour set, and you're doing all of these non sequitur kind of impressions and doing these things and leading the crowd into these different spaces, almost like you
You'd
would
absolutely
if it was
destroy Kevin.
dueling.
You would so destroy.
So what's interesting is he's moving into music, and now I'm taking music and saying, okay, now how do I craft? I'm actually going to comedy rooms on Clubhouse and throwing these little routines out there. I've thrown 2 of them out there already, and I'm getting pushback from people who do shows. These are guys who are out there slinging sets all the time, and they're like, yeah, okay, so if you want to tie this up, speed that up, and then go, blah blah blah. I love this. This is like a brand new way to bend my brain around how to perform and do a thing instead of 3 hours of Brown Eyed Girl and all the other staple cover songs that we normally do. This is a lot of fun and it's a lot of learning, but I love this, and he and I are kind of switching positions almost.
Well, I don't know if we're
People are
switching
pushing
positions.
back.
We're
Not
embracing.
switching, but we're
Yeah.
moving in it.
What position were we in initially?
Uh-oh.
I mean, we both were part of
I didn't
churches, so
I don't
well,
know.
yeah, that too. Anyway,
Anyway, anybody on the Clubhouse verse got questions, comments? Floor's still
I have a
open.
comment.
What's that?
I have a comment. All right, so I'm actually really interested in this Braille doodle. That's what it's called, right? I don't want to mess it up.
Brown doodle.
Yep, cool. I love products that are created by teachers, and that was the one thing that like drew me to your conversation, because you're in the mud, right? And
Mhm.
I think products that are made by teachers uh, are some of the best products I have ever seen when it comes to just anything, braille, art, any, like whatever the product is. If a teacher had a hand in its development, it usually is a great product, because the teachers are the ones that are in the field dealing with students, whether it's special needs students or not, and knows what works for the kids that they work with. And I really dig that about you and this product, that you really put that effort behind it, and that background into it, so you could teach your kids and teach kids of all abilities to do this. And I think that's really neat. So awesome, and I'm like 100% in on this. I think it's cool.
we will be pre-ordering one.
Yes.
Yes.
but we all have to do it with the movie voice. And if for some reason we have a friend of ours listening, we'll it's okay if we don't get free shipping on the product.
Right.
Like to order a Braille doodle.
So you're welcome, Chris, if you happen to be listening.
Go to touchpadprofoundation.org. That's touchpadprofoundation.
There you go.
Now here's a thing that I would be really interested in.
Yeah.
Now this
Wait.
is,
Before we go there, do you do Canada?
We are shipping internationally, and it's all on you, though. So we have this,
No, you don't say.
yeah.
I think I'm starting to like this guy.
So yeah, that's it. That's, you know,
They don't accept
we,
bacon or Molson Ice though.
no.
Are you sure about that?
Yep.
Oh.
Sorry.
Maple syrup. I pay with maple
So
syrup.
maple syrup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible. We could work something out.
I
You
was
know?
going to ask you though if the
I
Braille
could
Doodle is
talk to you about
available.
that, eh? I don't know.
I actually was really curious though. Is the Braille Doodle available in ranch flavored?
What?
What?
Ranch.
Like,
flavor?
just curious if you get in ranch, you know.
Ranch.
I missed it.
I
There's
don't get
something
it.
going somewhere. Yeah, there's somewhere something
That's
going
all right.
on that.
No, here was my thought. This is what, and this is kind of, this is a little more like deep down, like inside baseball-ish. What I would love to see is a podcast that we could do sometime where you talk about your process for what it was like to go and, like, how do you actually get something mass manufactured? Like, what when you're talking to these companies, what are they wanting you to know? What are you wanting them to know? Because there are a bunch of us that would like to build some things. And
That's right. How do you even
if
approach
you- well, if-
these people?
If you had any advice on how to get started, maybe that's a
that would
question
be
there.
so great. I mean, I would just love to eventually hear your whole story, but how would somebody who has ideas that they want to make stuff, modest things, we're not talking about building computers, we're modest things, what is that like in a nutshell, I guess?
Anything that you could throw together yourself to start with, I think that you could like hack, kind of. So this started out like as a toy from Amazon. There's a toy on Amazon that looks very similar to it, but it's not useful. Like, it doesn't have the way of holding up the poles or anything. But I was like, well, what if we put like Braille cells on it? And I'm not the only one who thought of this, actually. I started, after that, I saw some on Pinterest and stuff like that. But, they really should have taken a patent on it.
That's kind of the deal.
So, but no, it takes, it takes a lot more. It takes, you just don't give up. It's like perseverance. You feel like sometimes like everything's going to crap and, it's not going to work out. But you just go, okay, I'm just going to keep going, keep going, keep going. And this is going to work. I'm going to turn the doubters, into motivation to prove them wrong.
And if you can turn the doubters into touters, so that they can go, you know what? I thought this thing wasn't that great, and now I looked at it, and I'm sold, and I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, if you can turn that tide too.
Yep. And I had my uncle who, I know somebody who teaches the deaf blind, and they looked at this and they were like, it's not going to happen. And they already have the Amazon product. And why are you making something that's already have?
People ask you that kind of stuff?
The more people criticize, in some ways, I almost use that as that should be the thing to tell you even more so to make it, because it sounds like they're scared.
Exactly.
And that's a lesson that a lot of us need to learn.
Yeah, I think somebody was talking about, comedy and music and mixing that up, and they're getting pushback. I was like, yeah, that's the way to go. Somebody's giving you pushback. That's it. And and think the other thing advice I would give is like, think like something should be 100 times better, not just a little bit better, not just incrementally better. I think there was some book that I read that was about this too. You got to think like, okay, what's really, really possible? If I can make this, 10 times better, what would it be? 20 times better. Because like this all started out with the Touchpad Pro. Okay, something else that I could go into, but There's not enough time.
It's really interesting because like here on this show and in preparing for this show, like I'm all into all the new AI stuff. It's just fun. It's fun to play with that stuff.
Mhm.
I'll give you an example. There's there's actually a bot in this room right now. It's called read.ai, and read.ai is a website you can go to. It's free, pretty much free. They have paid plans, but you can do this under a free plan. You sign up, you connect this bot to all your calendars. So whenever I schedule a Zoom, a Teams, any meeting really, as long as they support the platform, it looks at my calendar, it finds the event, and as soon as it starts, it joins the event. So it's here right now, and it's transcribing everything we say. So at the
Right.
end of this, I'll get an email that has a link to the entire transcript. But I mean, this thing takes it a whole step further. So not only does it transcribe it, but it will tell you action items. So if at some point, well, right here, I'll say after the show, call Will. So in my actions, it'll pop up and say, remember to call Will.
Cool.
And you can
Would you?
even you can even they're about to build in a function where it will look at your previous notes and then find similarities and find things like, okay, last week you talked about this, and this thought is similar to this thought. Because what I started doing like last week is like a really high tech way to journal. So I wake up in the morning, I schedule a Zoom meeting, and it's just me. And so I join the meeting, and my bot joins the meeting, and then I'll walk around, I'll float around my pool, I'll do whatever, and just talk to my phone for a good 30
Oh
minutes and
my
just
god, that's
brainstorm what I'm
amazing!
thinking,
How
brainstorm
accurate
my
is the
idea,
transcribing?
and it transcribes the whole thing.
Any errors, or does it get it pretty much right on?
It's about like OCR. So it's not 100%, but it's close. And
That's
yeah, that's a
is
really
mind blowing.
That's revolutionary for
Now,
me.
what we need to do is we need to figure out a way to program this bot so that at 5 after the hour, it can tell us, you guys need to talk now about Numa Solutions and the great products that Numa Solutions provides. Do you see how I did the non
that's right.
sequitur
That's
there?
so right. Yeah. Or,
no.
well, what I'm really looking for is I would love to have like an AI bot that was like an avatar that could come in these rooms and like talk to us and just, that'd be really cool. That'd be a really cool
I
aspect.
believe this was covered in a documentary directed by Mr. John Hughes called Weird Science.
A
And
No,
Yeah,
no,
there
documentary.
was that.
they created a woman there.
yeah,
No,
no, it's a
that's
documentary. It's a documentary. They made this thing. It's
sure they
historical
did. Yeah.
documents, right?
Yeah. No,
Wait, are you trying to tell me that wasn't real?
dude,
This is
Kelly
revelatory for
LeBrock
me.
is not real.
No, she isn't.
No, she isn't. No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, going on this AI bit a little bit more. I mean, there's a lot of things I'll think of, and I'll just go to ChatGPT and be like, okay, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'll try it. And here's an example. So the other day I was like, you know, when journalists, when storytellers, when people write stories, there's probably some kind of theory, there's some kind of model that they go by. And so I asked ChatGPT, what are the models that writers go by? Like, what do they use for their creativity and that kind of thing? And one's called the IDA model, one's called the storytelling model. So then I go back to ChatGPT and say I have I don't know, say I have something I'm trying to write, something creative. I'll say write this and I'll give the details of what I want written and then I'll say using the storytelling model. And it's amazing how creative it gets and stuff like that.
It is.
That's so amazing.
I'm done. Y'all go ahead.
I can. It's
I have
incredible.
I have a friend who works for CBS television, and if this gets any better, she's going to be yelling, "They took my job."
Oh, well, that's
That is the concern, though, isn't it? Right? Like
yeah.
people.
Yeah,
Well,
it is.
but here's the thing. It is the concern, but this All right, this is my thought on this. This type of reactionary thing has existed since the 1800s, if not even before. So we had like, well, we'll start with the sword. In the like when in the, I think there was a comment in like the 13th or 14th century that was like, the world has now gone to hell in a handbasket because of the proliferation of the sword.
Right.
Okay. So then let's go to entertainment media. So in let's say in the late 1800s, we've learned how to mass produce sheet music, and there was a culture in this country, and probably in Canada as well, because we're not going to leave our brothers in Canada out here. But there was a culture.
No, don't bring me into that
There was
shit. No way.
there was a culture in that time that everybody had a music room, a piano, and a parlor, and they would buy this sheet music that was mass produced, and they would sing around the piano. But do you know what happened? People were like, "This is awful. We cannot have this," because people won't go to live performances anymore. They just want to sit and sing, because we've mass produced sheet music, and people had education in music and they learned how to sing and read it. So then we go ahead.
No, if you want to keep going, let me not stop your rant.
So so then we go to something like a player piano, and the player piano came out, and now Gershwin could pin his own songs into these grooves, and people could buy them, and they could play the piano. And guess what? Guess who got mad? Both the sheet music people and the live music people. And they said, nobody's going to buy sheet music anymore, and no one's going to go to live music anymore. So then the third wave happens with the Edison, the Edison phonograph, the wax cylinder radio. Well, we'll start with the wax cylinder. People thought, well, nobody's going to want to buy sheet music, go to live concerts or do any of that stuff, because now they can just listen to it on a wax cylinder. Radio comes out, and they say, well, nobody's going to buy any of this media because they're just going to hear it for free on the radio. Do you see how this works? And what
I do, but I do think there is a subtlety of difference. And the only thing I'll say, the one subtlety, because on principle, I think you're 100% right. I think the tricky part is when consumers are unable to tell the difference, then there needs to be a way, because that has the potential to do some weird things relevant to shaping culture.
That
as long as people have the ability to know what they're consuming, I'm all in.
So I'm going to go a step further and make it. There was something recent when COVID came out and everybody started streaming shit because they couldn't go to the movies. They said, oh, now nobody's going to want to go to the movies. And here we are after COVID, everybody's packing in.
So yeah. I want to piggyback on what Josh said, because it has to do with an NFB resolution that was put forth this year. And I believe
I didn't even keep up with them.
So I don't either, but this crossed my desk, a conversation yesterday, and I found this to be absolutely fascinating. And there was something that, like, folks like Chancey Fleet and a couple other people are really behind, and it's this idea that right now, if you ask AI, can blind people ride a subway, the answer that you're potentially going to get back is not a good one. And so what's happening is now there's this thing, especially in our community, where we now have to teach the damn AI so that the public gets the right information, because Josh is correct. Not only can the public not discern what is real and what is generated, but now this becomes like Wikipedia 2.0. Well, I read this on AI, so maybe this is probably, so I do see his point as well. And so I don't know what the deal on this resolution is. All I know is that it's pretty damning. If I was a sighted person and I said, can a blind person ride a subway? And the responses that AI generated back were, no, because they may fall off the track. No, because they may get hit by a train, which are stupid custodial responses. So that is a worry, and I can totally see Josh's point, and there's definitely people in that camp trying to fix this.
I want to get back to Daniel here in a minute, and ask a question.
But speaking of subways, we might have gone off some rails there for a moment.
Yeah, but let me just
I'm with you. I love the conversation. Love the
thanks.
conversation.
Let me cross this one.
Great thing. Go ahead.
I pulled the wheel. That's great to do in a show.
That's
Forgot what I
okay
was gonna
because we
say.
can just say, can we talk about our sponsor? Since this is a great segue.
Actually,
Yeah.
actually, if you want to talk about your
We
sponsor,
have
or
to
you
talk
could
about the
also,
sponsor.
We
We're-
have to.
We should.
Or
We really
and
should.
45
You
minutes.
could-
We're 45 minutes
Yeah.
out from having talked about the sponsor. So go
Let's
ahead,
talk about
Sean.
let's talk about Mike. Numa Solutions. What a real easy word to spell. Pneuma. Ooh, I got it right. Numa Solutions, and they make all kinds of cool stuff. RIM has been around for a number of years. Remote Incident Manager. This is almost like a tech support tool where you can connect to another computer. They don't have to be running any assistive technology, or they can. Either way, it'll work either way. And they just released this for the Mac. That's a really cool tool. The other one, and I bet there's some kind of AI built into this. Not 100%, but we'll find out next month when Calvo's here to talk about it. But his product Scribe is
It's incredible. It really is.
it's a tool. So when you're in a Zoom meeting, you're in Teams or something, and somebody shares something to the screen, and then you can't read it. Of course, this makes that accessible. So someone can submit their attachment, their PowerPoint, whatever it is. They can submit it to Scribe, and it'll make it accessible, and then send that document right back out. So really cool stuff there. Really unique. One of a kind. So check out Numa Solutions, numasolutions.com.
If you are familiar with Serotech, trust me, you are familiar with Numa Solutions. Even if you've
Absolutely.
never been to the site before, and not just Scribe or RAM, they've got DocuScan Plus, which is their flagship document scanning application. Standard OCR scenario. You put stuff on a flatbed scanner.
I've used DSP off and on for a few years, so it came in handy for sure.
And it's in the cloud too, which is nice. So
And I will say that there's been some WhatsApp messages back and forth between the company I work for with IC Music, where I said, y'all, we need to look at buying a RIM subscription because as a company, because this is like trying to get speech in a team viewer, AnyDesk, even using it as a FaceTime call and then allowing to remote control the screen is a pain in the ass. And so to be able to do this between Mac and Windows, to where
that's huge.
That's going to be
and it works
That
cross
is huge.
platform. Can a Mac person control a Windows computer and vice versa?
That's what I'm gathering.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty revolutionary if you get right down to it.
So
yeah.
On accessibility front, anyway.
And one thing Mike did tell me is when he was developing Scribe, I mean, this came out like 3 or 4 years ago, and they were using components of AI to make Scribe work back then. So this stuff's been around a while.
Did did he make sure to ask the AI or educate the AI on the capabilities of blind people?
I don't think so. You'll have to come next month and ask him. That'd be good.
Shout out to Matt Campbell, by the way. He's still there.
Oh my gosh,
Matt Campbell!
Yes.
Wow,
yes.
that guy is a talented son of a gun.
He is unbelievably good at what he does for a sighted dev too.
He's not sighted.
Yeah, he is. From what I heard, he's
Is
sighted.
he?
Pretty sure he's not.
Okay.
Well, yeah, he worked for Microsoft. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's blind.
Yeah, because here's the thing.
He used to do things on like Braille and Speak stuff for main menu and like way back when.
Right, because when you were back, Will, when you were reading the Tim and Pam books, he was doing the Look at Linux every Wednesday night on main menu. So in 2000s,
yeah,
I'm messing with you.
Yeah.
Actually, literally the timeline. If I can plug just a wee bit.
Go ahead.
If for anybody listening right now, I got different dates coming up. But if you go to Joshua the Jedi joshuathejedi.com/linktree, which Christina Campbell made for me. If you like it, you can hire her to make your link tree. But there's a link to my website, which is still in process of being constructed, but shortly there will be a link of calendar events, stand-up dates. I'm doing a show in San Marcos this Friday at Barrel Brewery, but we'll keep it going. Just
Where?
opportunistic. Barrel
Where?
Brewery in San
Oh, you said
Marcos,
That's funny because
California. Yeah, no,
yeah,
not
there's a
Texas
San
yet.
Marcos, Texas.
Yeah,
I was thinking, real?
but yeah, no. If you want to kind of hear my weirdness, link joshuathejedi.com/linktree, and all the previous podcast episodes are available through your places if you look for my name.
Hey, Daniel, just curious, did you learn anything from being at a convention? I mean, was this like the first big convention you'd been to, or?
I was actually at NFB last year, and
Okay. Oh, that's right.
you
That's
I
where
know,
saw it.
Kevin ran
That's where
across
I
it.
saw it.
always learning,
He was personally
and I think
demonstrating it
it's
to me.
great.
It's awesome.
Yeah. But I didn't have, like, this time I had these 3D printed prototypes, and we didn't have these things last year. So
Oh my
now
God.
we have, the real prototypes that are gonna be made into, thousands of things, and that we could pre-sell.
That's beautiful.
Because I also didn't want to pre-sell anything before it's time.
Thank you for
So I
that.
had a
There's been a lot of
Kickstarter.
companies that have done differently.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of. Yeah, that's really pissed me off, and I really don't like that when they do that, like taking money before they're able to do a product. So, you know, anyway, so I didn't want to have something like, so finally we did a Kickstarter and we sold 465 of these around the world. And so it's really exciting stuff, and just being at this convention is what makes it all worthwhile, because it's being with, having the children like play with it, children who are blind, or having parents who are blind play with their children or work with their children and go back and forth. Having people say, wow, like 2,500 different times, during a convention is just like, it's so cool. It's so invigorating, and that's really makes all the insanity worthwhile.
Yeah,
'Cause, yeah,
we're actually going to a convention next month in San Antonio. It's the ACB Texas convention, and that's the end of August. So we'll be there under Total Tech Solutions. We'll probably talk about WeSpeak too. Um,
Yeah.
I was telling these guys before you got here, I got this really unique idea um, to basically have a live show that you could use to raise money at different fundraisers and such. And really, you're just inviting complete chaos and allowing people to debate openly, important topics. Could be guide dogs and rideshare denials. I mean, there's just all kinds of, and people are going to get uncomfortable with this. I can tell you, like especially the blindness organizations, they're going to be like, man, we talked about this 20 years ago. Not like this. You hadn't talked about this like this. So, yeah, you know how
yeah.
people like change.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
Change comes from within, right?
So
Yep.
I will say this: I went to ACB this week. It's my first ACB convention. It was awesome. I'm gonna say if I could do a word picture of what ACB felt like to me, what it meant to me, it felt like this big, comfortable, fluffy, healing blanket that was like
Hmm.
following me around everywhere I went. I went to a bunch of booths. I think let's plan if you guys want, like like Sean and Will, like next week. Let's just sit down and do like a
Recap.
convention debrief and then record.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because I've got a lot to say and it's not for tonight, but I will say that it was just so much tech is coming down the pike, and I pimped the hell out of WeSpeak, and I was like, I think Sean would love to have you on talking about whatever. There's like 3 or 4 people that I already have kind of said this would be phenomenal discussions. So anyway,
Now you've
I just,
almost said my name. Do you have any proof that Sean and I are not the same person? How do you know I'm not running an AI?
it's called being it's called the brain is not functioning is what it's called. I have no
Yeah.
idea why I keep doing that.
No, I'm messing with you.
No, I know,
So-
but my AI isn't functioning.
You want to hear one of the important NFB resolutions this year?
What?
This is really, really important stuff. It's about how when you're at a baseball game and you're listening to the radio and there's a delay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to get us all jobs, you know?
Who?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. This
What?
was accepted?
What?
Yeah. Yeah, the NFB
Listen.
passed a resolution that is about basically going after the,
Radio
I guess,
stations,
the
because
radio
they
station. Like,
implement a delay, and so you're not.
They
with the
have to
actual-
implement a delay. It's a 7-second delay.
I
It's
know.
FCC rules.
It's FCC. Lura.
Okay, can I just look, FCC rule or not FCC rule, a radio station is not going to bend to a bunch of blind people who whine about a delay. I'm sorry.
This
but
is
can-
also
can-
like
can I
when
just
blind. Go.
but like can I just be freaking real here for a second? A radio station is not going to, or the FCC for that matter, is not going to bow down to a bunch of ungrateful whiny blindies who have absolutely zero interest other than trying to stomp on a delay. They are not going to cater to one group of people because they're bent out of shape over a delay that's required by federal regulations. It's pathetic.
So I have
It's
something to say
ridiculous.
on this because in Maryland they have the radio station that plays for the Orioles bowed down, and I don't know if it was an NFB situation, but it was enough stink got put up that they took the delay off. And I don't know if it still is off.
What's the
but
rationale?
because with the 7-second delay, and people take these little radios to the stadiums to, listen to the game, so they get essentially the play-by-play. And with the 7-second delay, it means you don't actually know what's happening in real time. Well, I agree. Who gives a rat's ass? But in Baltimore, and I'm sure in some other areas, they actually have dropped the rule for that particular reason. Now, whether
The
it
only
still
re-
is, like I said, I don't know. But
The only reason why Baltimore would do that is because it's the Jernigan Institute, and that's the headquarters of all things NFB. So if there's any environmental area that's going to cave, it's where the NFB is headquartered.
no doubt. But they also have employed blind play-by-play announcers in the past in Baltimore. So that being said, I think
wow.
they are a little bit more receptive than probably other stadium or other ballparks. But yeah, they actually have employed.
Forgive my ignorance.
Yeah. So
Just I want to make sure I understand what you said. Mind you, I'm blind. They hired blind people to do play-by.
No,
play.
color
And
commentator.
Okay, because
Okay.
well, yeah,
okay.
because it's not as if they're
Okay.
gonna know who's at bat.
Yeah. Thank
Does
you.
anybody
Yes.
do you want? I have the resolution in front of me.
Okay.
You do.
I went and got it. I wish I had my e-reader. I'm going to do kind of a nutshell here
Okay.
because it's all of these. I'm going
Blah,
back.
blah, 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 blah.
Oops, let me go right here. It says,
And see, you could paste the whole thing into Chat GPT and then say, summarize this.
Yeah.
yeah,
you
because
go.
there's so many whereases because we need to add a word. We need to add words like whereas.
And such as
Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
Americans don't have maps and such as.
Okay, we are urging all sports sports such as NFL, hockey, baseball. And now they get into this like regarding Section 508 of the Americans with Disabilities Act, that this is somehow with a delay. And we're talking about the Workforce Investment Act in this.
Dude.
And we're talking a 7-second delay. This is so that if people say "fuck you," they can hit the dump button.
Yeah.
This is so, but again, this is the biggest issue I have with these. I don't even want to say it's just an NFB thing, because I think it's important. There is a stigma that surrounds a lot of these major organizations that are supposed to be these advocates for blind people to, help them live the life they want and prosper and do all these things. Yet they're doing stuff like this. And it's to me, it's like, what are you here for? I mean, this is a total waste.
Have you ever heard the 80-20 rule, right? Like where you're putting in so much, and that's the thing, right? The impulse to do something, that's fantastic. But if all I do is just work to work, then I'm not getting anything done. We have this idea that effort equals result. No, effort well placed equals results.
Correct.
We have a situation right now, like Social Security reform, where if you have somebody on SSI and they make more than $65 without a fucking accountant, they can't manage their money, because it's for every $2 they earn, they take off $1, and it becomes this complicated thing in order to have the right ratio, even get ahead. So to the point where you have
and they based all that off the rates in the 70s.
Yep. So like you could put your effort in a way better spot, NFB, ACB, right? Like I don't care who hears
I mean,
belts,
look,
I'll call it that.
This is amazing. It's like in breath, I can completely,
in one universe.
I can completely change my tune, because you just heard me say 10 minutes ago, they put forth a resolution that is about teaching AI some of the most productive things we can do. This is really, really important. We're reading about a 7-second delay. I am so confused as to what this. Look, if we want to talk about something that affects the general public, how about all the damn touch screens in McDonald's? Let's do those. I'm sure there's some.
Thank you.
I don't understand. This is the dumbest thing I've ever read.
Guys,
misplaced priorities.
Let's face it. It'd be cheaper to do that than force stadium owners to put closed circuit systems in their arenas or whatever stadium.
But it gets more attention for the organization to get donations, is what it is. It's all back.
It does.
All it is. It's all it is.
That's what people may not realize is, like, when you go to a convention, everything at that convention is about fundraising. So if you go to a cutesy little party where it's like, it's a talent show or something, that's about raising money for the organization. I mean, it's fun. You get to hang out with your friends and drink and have a good time, but that's the purpose of that kind of
And
stuff.
it's also,
tell you how many Learning Ally emailed or marketing emails I get a day?
I don't get any, but that's
she's your favorite, isn't she?
Who? Learning Ally.
Learning Ally.
Oh, I thought he said Molly Burke. I was about to say, that's your favorite person.
That's another. So, but here's the deal.
Please don't get me started on Molly Burke.
Anyway, Kevin, go ahead.
You made a point Sean, you made a point about cutesy parties. Yes. So part of that is like, obviously we need to, in a convention like this, you need to raise money for the organization and the divisions. Like, so we were a part of ACB, the Friends in Art. The thing is that outside of that talent show, Friends in Art is doing a bunch of stuff to foster creativity in the organization or whatever. Same thing with the performing arts division. Those guys are over at NFB are doing crazy stuff with getting people, confident and doing things and being in the arts. So when they do the talent shows, when they do those things, yes, they're cutesy parties or whatever, they're fun, but they are raising money for the organization. The problem comes when it's very obvious when large companies start donating to a thing, we start having to edit what we say about that company because we are now beholden to their donations.
Right.
And you cannot be a disruptor. You cannot be a disruptor if you're taking money from one hand and then slapping them on the hand with the other. Because it's like you cannot please people and serve them at the same time. You have to make a choice. And if we're going to
Yeah.
serve people, it's about disruption. If we're going to please people, it's about status quo. It's about whatever the hell it is we're doing. And I feel like, how is this 7-second delay in a damn baseball game serving anyone?
It's not. It's not.
It's not.
And again, like I get there's, you have to do some things for donations, but if that's the level that you're going to stoop as an organization for donations, you've got a lot of growing up to do. I'm sorry,
But
you really do.
They've always done this. So
Well, remember they boycotted Mr. Magoo back in like.
that's exactly what I was about to say.
Oh, were you really
And
going to mention Mr. Magoo?
I was exactly going there. And here's and Josh,
to
here's
me,
the funny point. Here's the funny part, Josh. Some kid probably went to the movies with his mom or dad and parents or whatever, and was walking in there and saw a bunch of blind people with big glasses protesting and said, "Look, Mom, it's Mr. Magoo."
Oh, and I'm sure they got massively triggered, and they started they got on their knees and started praying to Saint Kenneth Jernigan.
Well, I will say this.
Sins.
So let me say this about Mr. Magoo, because I'm not a picketing person. However, I will say this: we talk about. I mean, we have some problems with perception, and it is true that I think the best kind of funniest, most irreverent use of a blind person in a movie is Anchorman 2, and it's hilarious. And you guys have to see the scene where he goes blind. It's hysterical, and it's wonderfully made.
Yeah.
But the thing is that we do have this perception in our world where, you have people that they wake up in the morning and they read their Facebook, and they're drinking their coffee, and they see a blind person singing the Star Spangled Banner. And what they see is, this person can't walk anywhere without falling. This person can't necessarily walk anywhere without needing help. They are walking in a world of darkness, but they are so wonderfully inspirational, and they can do anything they put their mind to. Do you see the cognitive dissonance here?
Yeah, they usually either think, I mean, look, I this is not a joke. This is not I mean, it is a joke sometimes, but I kid you not. I was in a band. Our singer was helping me on and off the stage. And he came up and he was like, "What's going on with your singer?" And he's like, "I'm helping him on and off this, he's blind." I thought he had Down syndrome, right? Like, people think it's either they confuse the disability. They assume that somehow it like disability equals they mush the whole thing in together.
And so with that,
or we're Daredevil.
And
So
with that said, well, I call them super subhumans.
Yeah.
So we are like super subhumans, right? So all of that to say about Mr. Magoo is that I'm not necessarily a fan if it's that bumbly, and people. I mean, if we can do things to try to bring positive things into people's spaces about what we do and who we are, that's great. However, I'm not going to go hold up signs either. I'm not pissed. I'm just saying it lets, I at least want to have a temper it with a little bit of saying, all right, so it's a movie. I'm not a big, whatever. It's a movie. It's made its money. It's going to do its thing. But on the other hand, it is kind of a perceptional thing.
The thing that people about Mr. Magoo, though, right, is the whole fullness of that character is not just about him being blind.
Correct.
Right.
And that's the issue. It's not that we shouldn't have positive representation. The problem is that the NFB took it too dang personally. Go back and look this stuff up. They took it so personally to assume that Mr. Magoo was a poking fun at blind people. No, if anything, it's ageist. It's poking fun at elderly people and kind of the whole weirdness of being a senile old man.
But this is what they do across the board, and it's why we have so many problems as blind people here in the U.S. getting taken seriously. I'm sorry, it is. But they've done it for years. This has been their whole MO.
And if you look at other disabilities, you look at the deaf community, they're not all divided like this.
A lot of them are united. Now,
probably
there are
more united than most.
They are more united, but Christina can actually speak on this if you'd like to, because you are best friends with somebody who has a deaf partner, and she can tell you all kinds of things about the cultural significance of certain things.
Yeah, I know it's different. I mean,
but
they
have
their own community.
Right. And they are united in a lot of ways. They are divided in some things, but they are way more united.
Okay, real quick, Daniel, give out all your contact info and such. I'm shocked, but we're actually getting down close to
Yeah.
8.
It's been incredible,
No
actually.
worries, man. This is a great conversation. I'm always learning more things, and uh, I am a sighted person in this community. Uh, with trying my best to understand and you know, but so I always have to try keep an open mind. But listening to all you people, I mean, like my son is on the autistic spectrum, and I said to that one person when he's on the autistic spectrum, is that no, he's autistic. I'm like, well, he's on a spectrum. It's just like people have to find things to argue about, and it's very silly. And yes, I do wish we all come together and get along. But anyway, Touchpad Pro Foundation, touchpadprofoundation.org. Please come check us out. You could Google Braille Doodle, and you'll also find us on a lot of podcasts and stuff like that, because we've been trying to get this out there, especially during the Kickstarter. So thank you for having me on, guys. And I'm definitely going to tune in again. Thank
Hey,
you.
we appreciate it. You're always
We
welcome to
appreciate
come.
it.
Yeah, if you follow that, if like you saved your email and you follow that link next month, you can always come in here. And that's why I need to remind people that if you've listened to this before, you can always come back and listen to the next one. So we always welcome you. Maybe you'll have a comment on that one. Who knows? But we
So,
appreciate it, Daniel. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
all right.
Thank you
So
so much.
you are the
Thanks,
man.
Daniel.
I really, really appreciate you, and I cannot wait to pre-order one of these. Okay. I have to retract. So I was reading the wrong. I can read this so I now understand the formatting of this. Somehow my cursor jumped down, and I'm like, how are we talking about baseball and 508 compliance? And I thought, wait, this isn't right.
Oh.
I'm saying the wrong thing. But this doesn't change this. I'm gonna just kind of. This is pretty short. Whereas many blind people are sports fans, I'm going to kind of do the tip of this iceberg on these. Whereas many blind people are sports fans, live radio broadcasts of sporting events talking about being able to listen to the game and be at the thing at the same time. But here's where it gets. There may be a significant audio delay ranging from a few seconds to a minute. Between the action and the description of the play-by-play.
Okay.
Some sports franchises have worked with their broadcast partners to. So I now need to see if this is a true thing. Is this a thing where this was not put forth in the blind space first, and or is this all them saying you've got to shorten this somehow? This is so asinine, y'all.
Yeah, and I knew they would do something this
and I
week.
see what
I
this is.
knew
Okay,
they would.
so dig this right. Here we go. Look at this. It's about it's about having receivers. They're saying the way we solve this is to have receivers available. So here's the thing.
It's not a horrible idea.
It's not a horrible idea, but the thing is that you're bitching about a delay that has to exist.
Exactly.
And
For
so
everyone. For everyone.
Okay, hold on. Can we peel this back for a second? I think, unfortunately, right, they put the reinforcement for the request and they worded their argument differently. If they had put this forth as, we want to set up a system in live sports venues where people who attend who have difficulty seeing can get live audio description for what they're watching.
Yes.
And keep radio out of it, that makes a much cleaner case.
And I will tell you this. There are times where you go to a sports ball game, and I'm going to say sports ball because I'm not a sports guy. I don't understand it. My brain doesn't work. When you go to one of these games and you may not have an internet connection, but you have a radio, the problem is that because everything's streamed online, you can't listen on the radio. So this should not have been about a delay at all. This should have been about the fact that like some games you can't even listen to the game inside the stadium. Why are we talking about a delay instead of saying, can we please set up these receivers so that no matter where you are, people can have access to it? That makes it look less ridiculous.
And you you make it a complicated argument when you do it this way. You don't even need to bring up the radio at all.
I know.
No.
And this is like, I don't even understand this, because I would be pissed. I would be pissed if I was a blind person who paid a big sports ball ticket and I knew that I could listen on my favorite AM station on my, on my radio or something. But let's say I didn't have internet connection. Let's say I only have a jitterbug phone, because I know those people. They only have jitterbug phones and they have a Walkman and they want to listen to the thing and they can't.
Yeah.
So
and they don't understand either.
Delay.
Delay.
That's ridiculous.
Delay.
I never thought I would say this because I thought this other resolution completely put the cherry on the cake for me. But I think in comparison, the resolution that they passed in 2014 to make every app in the App Store accessible is relatively palatable compared to what I'm just seeing here.
Yeah, that was stupid too.
This is all, but yes, it was. But it was doable. It was doably stupid. This is a whole nother matrix of stupid for me. Yep. This is just, ludicrous.
It's like man, it's like somebody that doesn't understand broadcasting is throwing a thing up there going, well, these guys can do it. You got to get rid of your delay, man. If you're a first-time caller, long-time listener on Art Bell, Coast to Coast AM, there's a 7-second delay. Sorry, kids.
Gotta happen.
Oh, that's funny.
Gotta happen. Anyway, let's not harp on this all night.
If you have me on your show, you probably want a fucking delay. There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving. Will is moving us on, sirs.
Yeah. I could go on about this all night. It's how mad it makes me. But let's.
Yeah, we're about done here, y'all. I was gonna say, Kevin, if you queue up, can you queue up the commercial and then after what Josh's song?
Yep. Let me.
So, man, thanks y'all for listening. We appreciate it. Follow the podcast. Yes. Follow us. We need followers. Please. Share us with your friends. We can't have a whole lot of fun here unless we have a whole ton of listeners. So y'all do that part. We'll do the rest of it. And if you have any thoughts, any questions, if you're curious about WeSpeak Live and you're like want to hear more, send me an email, info@blindtech.org. We're actually working on a website specifically only for WeSpeak. That's going to be WeSpeak.live. Already got the domain, just waiting on Justin.
There you go.
So yeah, thanks, y'all.
All right, so we're gonna play this. Oh, I just want to say, I appreciate this. This has been a great night. If you're listening to this live and you're going, how the hell is this going to turn into a podcast that's going to be cogent because we're like all going all over the place? Don't worry about it. We've got this figured out over here. Me and Christina have got this locked on how there's just so many nuggets of great in here, and not just nuggets, but entire fillets of great. And so we're gonna chop this into just some wonderful discussion. We really appreciate it. We're gonna play this quick ad for these guys, and then there'll be a little bit of dead air while I get this other song going. But we were gonna finish out with an Arimathea track. So
this has genuinely been one of my favorite episodes yet.
I had a great time.
But at the last time, this was probably the best one, and I genuinely mean that. I like shows like this. I want to keep it this way.
Yeah,
so
you got a good thing that's ramping up here. Thanks for letting me be part of it.
That's good.
No problem.
Thank you.
Josh.
Here you go, kids. Have a good one.
Better. So there you go. Every time.
Introducing Total Tech Solutions, your Texas one-stop shop for all your technology needs. We are proud to offer the Blind Shell 2, the revolutionary device that makes it simple for people who are blind or visually impaired to use a smartphone. Visit our website at blindtech.org to learn more and to order yours today.
Feeling adventurous? Explore your world with the ARX headset, which provides real-time audio descriptions of your surroundings.
Our experienced team is part of the I Can Connect program, TVIs. Enhance your teaching skills and support students with comprehensive training on JAWS, voiceover, and other assistive technologies. Visit blindtech.org for more information. Enter coupon code BLIND for 10% off site-wide.
Let Total Tech Solutions help you with all your technology needs. Call 833-577-8887.
833-577-8887.
So I need to know how to spell Arimathea.
It's Arimathea. Okay,
one moment.
Yeah,
This
no
won't be
worries.
this will be fixed in post, and you won't hear me say on the recording that this will be fixed in post.
You should totally leave it in now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should. Give it a blooper show. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Here we go. A-R. Do it one more time. A-R.
Arimathea.
Okay, I was almost. And then S-I-R-E-N, right? Pretty much.
Sorry, yeah, for the same. Yep. It's not on Spotify, I don't think, but it's on most other places. You can get it on YouTube too if you need it.
You also have Tried by Fire on here. Did you know that?
That's the name of the album, or the EP that we put out.
I gotcha. All right, here we go. Let's see if this goes. Come on now.
If
Is that coming through?
Not on. Yeah, not here.
Not on Zoom, anyway.
Not on Zoom.
On Zoom.
Okay, I gotta figure that out. I thought that.
Are you
was
sharing
me.
your screen?
I don't need to do that.
Okay.
I'm using Loopback.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I need to go into Loopback and make sure that the I got to make sure I put in the let's see, where is it?
It's like a little digital mixer for anybody who doesn't know, like a virtual audio cable on Windows, sort of.
Except it's accessible.
Well, there's that.
Because
virtual audio is a pain in the butt to use.
It's a pain in the neck, but it's technically accessible if you know how to change the dialogue values.
Oh, there is no music in here. Hold on, I'm gonna add it. I don't even know why that's not in here. Music. I know. Well, I thought I did it before. I've been so fried from like the last 2 weeks. I have no idea what I've done from one day.
You've been hustling, man.
Okay, on and mute and capturing unchecked, and bring this down. Okay, I'm so sorry for the dead air, but again, in post, you won't even notice. All right, here we go.
Yeah, I know.
And right here on WeSpeak, it's Arimathea with Sirens. Give us a call.
That's awesome.
Shivers of fear sprint up my spine. Afraid for the concrete to morph into a bed. Sleeping on stacks of paper instead. Covered in plastic to save me from the rain. What do I turn to cover my pain? Searching for months now, what did I find? Only deceit gnawing at my mind. Trying to cover this hole. Trying to breathe, I'm barely alive. I'm without a home, this is not a game. I fear that my children will end up the same. Soaked up in substance to cover my pain. Trusting I am. Screams of the sirens wake me up tonight. Shivers of fear sprint up my spine, begging for change just to make it through the day. Something to eat, trying to distance the pain, digging through trash cans to soon upgrade my pride. No other choices when fighting to survive.